Yo, 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 welcome to another episode of Empire Jeff TV. I am your host, Empire Jeff, coming to you on a Friday night live from Los Angeles, California. Hope everyone's having a good night. Outside of the Lakers losing to the Denver Nuggets, man, 131-126 in a game where the Lakers put up a fight. They had the others, nothing but others tonight. No stars, four of their top players out. It was considered by most people to be basically a punt game, right? A lot of people didn't think the Lakers had any shot in this game. And not only did they had a shot, but they had the lead down the stretch and could have won this game. But kind of fell apart there at the end. And, you know, when you've got a game and you've got your role players trying to close out games, that's when you really, really, really miss your superstars and your star players and your closers. Denver had theirs. The Lakers did not have theirs. And that's pretty much how the game ended. I wasn't able to do my show right out the bat, but I was, listening to what other people were talking about. I haven't really been tuning into a lot of shows, but kind of made the rounds, listened to some things, and it's interesting on all the different takes. And so, you got the pro LeBron channels, the anti-LeBron channels, the anti-Austin channels, the pro-Austin channels, and it's just so interesting, the different takes, right? Which everyone has their own opinion, which is fine. But for me, it's just crazy how all over the place it is. When to me, the game is pretty simple. And this game was pretty simple, kind of how it fell apart down the stretch. I've heard people break down the last couple of plays, and I don't know if we were watching the same game, but I saw those plays go a little differently. I'm going to touch on that. But Austin Reaves, man, 37 points. Dalton Knecht, 32 points. Incredible performance. But those guys just didn't have enough down the stretch. Some turnovers. Austin missed his last shot there. Little pull up on the left-hand side there that didn't fall. And like I said, you need your closers there. Austin had himself a game that you almost wanted them to win for him, because on that play alone where he stripped Joker of the ball, then went down and got that layup and hit the deck and got back up and ran back. I mean, that possession alone felt like that was going to be a play that kind of turned the game and helped the Lakers get that win after, and especially that Dalton Knecht dunk on the next play, right? And you started feeling maybe they can pull this off, but you have, champions on the other side. You got a multi-time MVP on the other side, a finals MVP on the other side, and a guy on the other side that just is known to hit dagger shot after dagger shot after dagger shot against you, and Jamal Murray. And I swear, Jamal Murray was born to play against the Lakers. He was born to play against the Lakers. And look, Denver, I'm tired of losing to Denver. I was over it. Coming into this season, I'm like, until we beat them, until I see something different from this team, I am no longer going to believe that we can beat them. And then when we beat them the last time, when we got Luka and went in there, even when the Luka trade happened, I said that we no longer have a Denver problem. I still stand on that even after tonight's loss, because I'll tell you what, and I believe this 100% right now. This Laker team with all their guys is better than this Denver team with all their guys. I just feel that. They really do. And the fact that you had no LeBron James, the fact that you had no Luka Doncic, the fact that you had no Rui Hachimura, the fact that you had no Jaxon Hayes, and the fact that basically Dorian Finney-Smith didn't play, basically injury or illness, right? He was out too. So at the end of the day, 5 starters potentially, right? I know Austin's a starter and Knecht has started, but these are 5 guys who can start in the NBA that you were without tonight, and you still almost won this game. You had a chance on the final inbound when Shake Milton threw that ball away. We're going to touch on that too. But the Lakers were in this game. They made a comeback. They had a 17-3 run, I think it was. Came back in this game and had a chance to win it. And some lack of execution, some mistakes in coverage, some blunders there, and a tough and one on Joker when he got his and one around the basket on Koloko. And like I said, the missed shot by Reaves, that turnover by Reaves when Christian Brown stole the ball, went back the other way and got the dunk. So you had that play, and then you had the Westbrook interception, run back for a dunk. That's 4 points right there that pretty much kind of was just as impactful, if not more, than that Murray 3 or that Joker and one. So a lot of ways the Lakers lost this game, but there was also a lot of ways the Lakers got back into this game, and a lot of ways the Lakers could have won this game, and it just didn't go their way. So I'm not really mad. I've seen, like I said, I made the rounds. I've seen tantrums. I've seen peace. I've seen outrage. I've seen common sense. I've seen all kinds of different takes on this. And they're all kind of very interesting. And because it always interests me how we all watch the same game, and so many people's minds go so many different ways. It's very interesting. It's kind of what makes the game special. Kind of what makes content creation special is we all watch the same thing but interpret it different ways, and that's what sparks conversation. And so we're gonna have one right now. Austin, Dalton, and Coach JJ Redick, phenomenal game. I know JJ wasn't on the floor, but his game plan, and I know Shake had 16 points tonight, but he's been borderline terrible since we got him. But he was a plus 10 tonight, right? Koloko a plus 13 tonight. And those guys impacted the game. Now, there's a lot of things that also led to that, and that is that Denver kind of didn't take the Lakers as serious as they should have. Very similarly to how the Lakers didn't take Brooklyn as serious as they should have, or didn't take Charlotte as serious as they should have earlier in the season, and Utah as well. These happen, and these games happen. That's why I told you when it happened to the Lakers, I go, this happens to every team. Any team can sneak up on any team any given night. And when the Lakers got those losses, I go, yeah, it's a trash loss, but they're going to get trash wins. Not trash wins. They're going to give other teams trash losses, right? And tonight, Denver almost caught a trash loss, right? They got one on Boston last year without guys. The Lakers have done this before, but the problem is the Lakers' trash losses followed up by I don't do moral victories, but followed up by something like this. Like if they had this effort in the Brooklyn game and probably a little bit more of this in the Bucks game, even though Luka went dummy, then you probably split those two at minimum, right? And then, you have a chance to at least probably split this road trip. But now you go 0 for 4 on the road trip after losing LeBron in the Boston game, losing that one, and then he doesn't play in the final 3. And they lose all 3 of those. And, if you're looking back and you're kind of watch and you get LeBron back and he got some rest in this stretch, and Luka got a rest after last night's game. And, they're not going to, he's got a couple more days there. And now we're going to see what this team is. I don't think LeBron plays until the San Antonio game. I was on Lakers Fast Break about 2 days ago. I said then, like I said, it's in the books, it's recorded. I said that he's coming home. I'm hearing we're getting an update in 24 to 48 hours. He's going to check in with his team. But he's got his own training crew. He's got his own, medical situation that he gets going with, along with the Lakers. And he wanted to go and try to do some ramp up where there couldn't be any leaks on how it went. Right. So he came home to did that. Things seem to be progressing. And I think he's going to be back on Sunday against the Spurs to kind of get that the feel out game. And then if that goes great, and then kind of full throttle back against Denver, the game after that. And that's what I predicted 2 nights ago. I still think that's going to happen. And it looks like LeBron is inching closer to returning. All the guys are getting closer to returning. And, we came off an 8-game winning streak. Now we're on a 4-game winning streak. So, hopefully these guys come back, put some things together, and continue to fight for that second seed in the West. And with another game versus Denver, we have a chance to tie the season series against them. So if you do face them in the playoffs, and I do think that this Laker team is better than them now, you now have in their heads, if you beat them this next time, that you've beaten them twice, including once in their own building. So I think that's very, very important going into the playoffs in a season where I think we may have a chance of matching up against Denver and the Clippers in these playoffs. And I think the teams that have been kind of the ghosts of the past for this team to be able to sweep the season series against the Clippers this year and last year, and to get 2 wins against Denver this season would be huge going into the playoffs when you would potentially have to face them. So I'm not, like I said, I don't love any loss, obviously. I don't like any loss, obviously. But I will say that, I'm not mad at this loss. It got to a point where, okay, we're in it. We could win it. Don't blow it. And we blew the game. But I'm not mad, because these guys aren't guys that are typically in this type of position at the end of games. These guys aren't guys that we count on to get us out of a hostile arena with a win. These aren't guys that we can count on to carry us through an entire game like this. And they almost did. So I'm not going to call this a schedule loss, because it's not a schedule loss. We didn't have all our guys playing on a second night of a back-to-back. This was a punt game. I'm not going to call this a moral victory, because it is not. But what I'm going to call this is an experience game. And what I mean by that is you had the Brooklyn game where these guys didn't show up. You had the Knicks game where a lot of these guys didn't show up, right? You had the Bucks game where a lot of guys didn't show up, right? This game, very similarly to what I said, sometimes it's that game. It's like, this is exactly what the doctor ordered. When you got your role players kind of not really finding their way and kind of needing to get a game to get their groove and kind of find their way and get in a good rhythm, a game like this, even in a loss, can turn to a positive down the road with guys like, Austin Reaves, Dalton Knecht, Koloko had meaningful minutes. Like even Shake Milton, who really hasn't been able to give the team anything. Maybe this car, has him ready to perform if he has to be inserted into the game at some point, right? So, but outside of that, it really came down to those two turnovers. The one where Austin lost the ball, the one where Shake threw the ball away, and Austin's backing up instead of meeting the basketball, just leaving a clear path for Russ with his athleticism to get in there and intercept that ball. Russ is not a great one-on-one defender, but if you're throwing the ball damn near sideline to sideline across the court, Russ is going to get that almost 10 times out of 10. Still very, very capable of doing so. Got the ball, went down, dunked it, all she wrote, right? And then you got the one where Austin was on the left side trying to kind of dribble into when they were sending double teams at him, got blindsided by Brown, lost the ball. Brown went over and dunked it. At that point, I think it was a 5-point lead for Denver. It felt like the game might have been over then, right? Knecht comes back, hits a three, and the Lakers are just right back in it, right? And they had their chances. And after that Knecht dunk where he fell and hit his head, the Lakers had a very open window to win this basketball game. But like I said, the champion, the former champion, and then an NBA Finals champion, an NBA Finals MVP, league MVP, and an absolute dead-eye guy against the Lakers, Jamal Murray, those guys had those two buckets along with Westbrook on that dunk to seal it. And that was it. And I've heard people talking about, I want to talk about the play because I've heard it breaking down, and I don't know if people just don't remember how that play went or what it was. But people are making it seem like they got the ball into Joker and he just backed it down and got a foul in an and one. And that's not what happened. Joker got that ball at the 3-point line, dribbled all the way to the basket, hit him with one pump fake, put it up and got fouled on a play where Koloko had no time to wrap him up. He barely even fouled him. He just got bit on the pump fake a little bit and his arms came forward. Right. So I don't know what anyone's talking about. He backed him down. He dribbled to the basket from the 3-point line. Okay. And then the complaint was why didn't they take that away from him? Meaning if he was close to the basket, well, he got it up high. So what happened was that play is kind of what caused the problem on the Jamal Murray play, because when they switched and they did the high screen and roll, screen and pop, whatever is going to be up to Joker, which way he went, Koloko switched on to Murray. And what happened is Dalton got caught on Joker. They were pinned up. Both arms were up. They were kind of body to body leaning up, weight versus weight there. So when Murray went to the other side of it, he was pinned. Like Knecht was pinned and Koloko couldn't get around it at that point. They got it to him and he hit it. It was a well-executed play. You draw up a play like that to get an open look. And because Knecht kind of got pinned Joker, the first switch was what they were supposed to do, but then they just couldn't get untangled and he got an open shot out of it. So I don't know what people's breakdown of those two possessions were when they were talking about that, because Joker did not get the ball with his back to the basket. On the first one, he dribbled to the cup. And the second one, it was a crossover, a cross pick, and Koloko did switch. He was on Murray and forced Murray to go the other side. And then it just fell apart because Knecht was pinned to Joker. So I don't know what version of that play people saw. And that's what I'm saying. Like, people's perspective of that is very interesting to me. But Joker did not get the ball at the rim, back him down, and put it into the basket. He got it at the 3-point line, made a move, dribbled to the hoop, hit him with a pump fake, and laid it in and got fouled. I don't know how people misconstrued that. But anyways, you have MVP with the ball in his hand. He's going to get the respect of the ref there. And Jamal Murray, like I said, was born to play against the Lakers. He was born to suit up and make shots against the Lakers. He's killed us time and time and time again. And then when you do that play where you try to take Joker out of the equation and try not to let him get to his spot or get the ball, then you're going to give something up. When you send a double or you send a switch and you go to take something over and you go to double, or you overcompensate to one thing, you are giving something else, right? Aaron Gordon has been killing it from the corner. So let's say even you try to pin those two, you got him over there with that shot, right? You're going to give up something. There's nothing you were going to completely take away on that play. There was nothing you were going to completely take away. Now, ideally, you probably want Gordon as opposed to Joker or Murray, but he's been killing it with that. So had they taken that away and Gordon gets the open three and then makes it, everyone's going to be making a big deal about him being open in the corner. Why didn't they get to it? But you can't take away everything when you have good action being ran. And Denver came down the one way. Joker got to play to the basket with the and one, which freed up them, made them overplay Joker on that high screen. Dalton got basically Velcro to him and got Jamal Murray open for the three. And that's what happened. Having said that, the Lakers still had a chance to do something, but Austin Reaves just did not come meet the basketball. He was backing up from the ball as opposed to going to the ball. Russ intercepted that, and that's all she wrote. But outside of that, to me, the plays that really cost the Lakers the game was the Austin turnover and then the Shake Milton, obviously, turnover. You don't know if Shake's going to make that shot. I mean, you don't know if anyone's going to make that shot once they get it, but you have a chance to make it. And the way they were going that game, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But those two plays were just as big, as well as the execution on the play where he pulled up and missed from the left side. But it's really hard to fault a guy like Austin, who has 37 points and made several key plays in this basketball game. And Coach J.J. Redick did everything he could to try to win this game. We knew probably rather early that the defense wasn't going to be able to hold them down. So you had to try to score points. You had to try to get out there and run up the score with them. And they were able to do that and hang in the game. And when Knecht got that dunk, I was like, oh, man, they might win this. I wasn't supremely confident, but at that point, I was starting to get some belief that they could win the game. I didn't have any belief the entire game, even when they were coming back, even when Keith hit that three. I didn't, at that point, there was still way too much time left in the game. I think that was right at around 6 or 5 minutes when Keith hit that three to put him up 6. I was nowhere near as confident up 6 with 5 or 6 minutes left as I was obviously up 3 with roughly a minute left. But it just never felt, because every time the Lakers did something, just Denver did something. In this game of runs, Denver kept hitting their run. The Lakers got their run, and it just felt like Denver had more, and they did have more. And at the end, that more got the win. And, this Denver team is not the Denver team of old. This is not the Denver team that owns us anymore. We can beat this team. I think this Laker team is better than this version of this Denver team. So I'm not even really tripping on Denver. They got us tonight on a game that, even though we had no business being in, we could have got. And we didn't get it. And while there's no moral victories, I guarantee you, there's no moral victory in this, but I guarantee you there's some doubt in Denver's mind. I guarantee you Coach Mike Malone is pissed in that locker room after this loss. I guarantee you these Denver players are thinking more about the Lakers now. I guarantee you. Before, coming into the season, they were just treating it like the Lakers are just going to lose this game. All we got to do is hang around, be close, and they're going to fall apart. They don't got anyone that can go get it outside Braun when we wear him out and he gets tired. They got no one that can do anything with us. Now they do in Luka, and Luka cooked him in the last game. So this is a totally different situation than it was the last 2 years versus Denver. And I'm going to stand on that. Does it mean that Denver can't beat us? No, Denver can definitely beat us in a playoff series, but I think we have a much better chance because I think we're the better team now. And they said Joker's incredible. Jamal Murray against us is credible. They got very good players still, but they've lost a lot. And there's a lot of dent in that armor. And this isn't the same Denver team that won the championship in 2023. It's not. It is. So whereas last year, I was like, you guys got to be crazy to want Denver in the first round. Now, I don't know if I'd want Denver in the first round because you're still facing one of the, if not the best player in the league in Joker. But I'm nowhere near as trying to think that maybe, we should avoid them as I was the last 2 years. So having said that, shout out to Austin, shout out to Knecht, shout out to JJ, shout out to Shake Milton, shout out to Koloko, guys who went into today's game with that straight up, next man up mentality and got the job done for showing up, performing, and doing everything they could to help their team win a basketball game. And at the end of the day, it just didn't fall their way. And that's all it is. So appreciate y'all tuning in, man. This is Empire Jeff TV. I'm Empire Jeff coming to you live on a Friday night from Los Angeles, California night, where the Lakers lost to the Denver Nuggets 131-126 in Denver, Colorado tonight. Austin Reaves, 37 points. Dalton Knecht, 32 points, but not enough as Denver outlasts the Lakers and gets the victory. Please drop a like on the video if you have not done so already. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. You can also become a member to the channel. 3 different tiers of membership for less than the cost of lunch. You can become a member for an entire month. Hit that join button or that first link in the description to become a member on the channel. Shout out to all the current members. You are greatly appreciated. You can also get your MLB, NBA, NFL gear, and more. Make sure to use our link to get special discounts, and your purchase also helps support the channel. We have partnered with the good people at Fanatics, and when you order through them via us, they take care of us because you ordered via us. Great way to support the channel. Get your Laker gear, your Dodger gear, whatever your NFL team is, or whatever your team is in general. Also some memorabilia. Make sure to use that Fanatic link. Also follow us on all of our socials at Empire Jeff TV on Twitter X, on IG, on Facebook, as well as on TikTok and YouTube. All right. So let me hear what you guys think about what happened in this game, man. What part of the game do you guys think the Lakers lost this game? And what are some of the standouts? I know Austin and Dalton did their thing. Was there something else you saw in tonight's game that you liked? Did you see anything that JJ was doing a little bit different? Did you like anything that the team was doing different without their stars? Is there anything that gives you a little bit more confidence in some of these guys come playoff time because they went out there and performed tonight without their stars? Let me know what you guys think. I'm curious. I'm going to get to your chats right now. We got Don't Care in the building. Appreciate you, bro. What up, Jeff? Lakers almost stole one. Yeah, bro. They almost did, but almost don't count, right? But they did almost steal one. Search and Destroy, my brother, the mod god, the mod father, the father of mods. Mod God. Appreciate you, bro. The best in the business. Thank you for being here as always, Search. Love you, brother. Lewis said, what's good, big brother Jeff? What's going on, Lewis? Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you as well. People talking to each other. Let me mind my business here. Craig, what's going on, man? Appreciate you as always for tuning in. Chris, the graphic guy, my brother. Appreciate you, man. Hope you're doing well. Denver can go to hell. You know what, Chris? It's funny, man. Me and you have been through the Denver Wars, right? We were covering it, during probably the peak of it, right? And I'm curious to see what you think because we were like kind of front and center for this, right? Do you feel this is the same team? Do you feel the same energy? Like, I know you want to beat them because they beat us the last 2 years, but do you think this team is the same Denver team that owned us the last 2 years? I don't think so, brother. I don't think it is. I think this Laker team is better than this Denver team. I just think that they got us, on a night where we didn't have a lot of guys. And you know what? This would have been a tough one if we had all of our guys, even because in the second night of a back-to-back, that would have been more of like a bad luck in scheduling, right? But tonight, I almost feel like we had the advantage not having all our guys because we were able to sneak up on them and we almost got it. But tell you, like I said, some of the most difficult teams to play or the scariest teams to play or is a team that's playing free and nothing to lose, right? And that's what the Lakers were tonight. That's what Brooklyn was the other night. That's what Charlotte was the night when they beat us. That's what Utah was the night that they beat us. When you're playing a team that has nothing to lose, that team is very dangerous, very, very dangerous. And the Lakers went up against that. The Nuggets went up against that tonight, and they almost caught an L because of it. They almost caught an L. Craig says, yes, but they play a lot better tonight with team ball. Yeah, they did. They did play well tonight. Let's see. Westbrook strikes again. Jeremy AC. What's going on, Jeremy? Appreciate you, brother. What up, Empire Jeff? AR-15 proving he can be a third best guy on the court. We need an apology from you saying you're not comfortable with him as a third best option. Look, I've said that I'm starting to come around to it. I don't feel like, Austin, an apology. I wasn't calling him a scrub. I wasn't calling him trash. Still remains to be seen if he's capable of being a third guy on a team that could go far into the playoffs. That will remain to be seen. But as far as apologizing to him, I don't think I slandered him or talked any shade. I said I was getting closer to starting to feel that way, I think was the last thing I said about it. But I'm still not convinced that Austin is a third guy on a contending team. I'm still not convinced. I mean no disrespect to Austin. I mean no shade to Austin. To me, Austin is a very good role player, but to me, Austin is more fourth or fifth best. Third best is that player has to be like borderline all-star, made a couple all-star teams, former All-NBA guy that's taken a lesser role. Like I don't think Austin is that level of player yet. Maybe he gets to that. I don't know. I don't think he is, but I don't dislike Austin. I love Austin. But I don't know if he's necessarily the third best player on a chip team. That's kind of my stance. But I don't think I owe him an apology. I've always bigged him up when he did well, and when he struggled, I've also defended him. I'm not anti-Austin like some of these other channels are, but I'm not an Austin Reaves fanboy either, right? I think he's an incredible role player, a very high value role player who can help you win basketball games and help you win a championship. But I also said that about Derek Fisher. I've said that about Robert Horry. I've said that about a lot of guys, and I never had any of those guys as a third best player on a chip team. So I think Austin is a very, very good role player that can help the Lakers win. There remains to be seen if he can be that third guy. So I disagree. I do not owe him an apology because I never slandered him to begin with. Jerica Fair, what's going on, Miss Jerica? Appreciate you. She said, so handsome as always, Jeff. Go Lakers. Hell of an effort. Appreciate you, Jerica. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. Hope you're having a great day. Let's see. Search and Destroy said AR is a cold white boy. He is a cold ass white boy. I've been said that too. You know how many Twitter arguments I get in on Twitter defending Austin? Austin is a very good player, y'all. I think he has a long career, and I want him to have a long career. What's up with my chair here? I want him to have a long career as a Laker. But that remains to be seen. If he can be that third guy, we'll wait and we will see. Doesn't matter what seed the Lakers end at. My thing is health is most important. Health is very important, but I think this year's seeding is a little bit more important than maybe in years past. I really, really want that second seed, man. I really do, because then you have potential to have home court advantage through the Western Conference playoffs if OKC gets bounced, or at least up until the fact where you have to face them if you continue to advance, right? Second seed is very important to me, and it's within reach, and I think they can get it. Health, obviously, very, very important, but the second seed, I think, is pretty important now. With Luka and Braun, do you have any thoughts on how we can keep AR-15 aggressive and not defer too much? Stagger, right? When one guy goes to the bench, usually Braun, right, early, and then you play off him and Luka, vice versa. Look, he hasn't been terrible when those guys are playing. I thought he's had good moments, and especially when you're playing against teams, playing drop coverage, and you got three downhill guys that can get to the basket, draw fouls. I think Austin's going to play a very, very pivotal role, and I think Coach JJ Redick is going to get him situationally set up to where he's able to perform in those situations. And I think Austin has a chance to really, really thrive with those two guys on the floor. Vando plays really well against Jokic. I mean, because, no one's going to stop Jokic, but Vando does things that, that the Lakers don't have a lot of guys that do what Vando can do with his length, his ability to rebound, his ability to cover ground. He's strong enough. He's got strong hands. Vando can make things difficult for players, at times, right? So Vando's just barely coming into form. And when he does get into form, just like Luka, just like these other guys, Austin is finally kind of coming into form after being out with his injury. It's going to take Rui maybe some time to get into form. LeBron, when he comes back, that's why I said I think it'll be the San Antonio game and before the Denver game, just so he can get back into a rhythm there. But when these guys kind of get into their rhythm and kind of find their legs there and get their legs under them, I think that's when this team is going to be its most dangerous. AOR is balling, absolutely. We came back to earth. F Denver as a staff, record label, and as a mother effing team. Yep. Imagine Knecht in 3 years. I mean, imagine Knecht in 3 months. Like I said, Knecht is not a young guy, right? He played 4 years of college. He transferred around. So Knecht is like Austin came out as a 4-year guy. Knecht came out as a 4-year guy. There's a reason these guys were more NBA ready and more able to step in now. They're older. Their body and minds are more mature. When you get these 18, 19-year-olds, their bodies aren't even ready yet, let alone their minds. But these guys coming in 4 years into the game, you're getting a rookie at 22, 23 versus a rookie at 18, 19, right? Totally different scenario. And the Lakers seem to like those guys, especially when you got LeBron on the team. You got some of these older rookies that are kind of like vets in college, right? Now they come in. And so when I don't look at someone like Dalton Knecht and have the same type of rookie cliche talk. I don't. He's not your average rookie. He's a lot older. He's a lot more mature. He understands the business a little more. He's already transferred and switched teams in college multiple times. He's been traded in the NBA and then rescinded, right? He's a tough guy. He's a tough guy. And Austin, too. Austin, the same way, right? So these guys aren't your prototypical rookies. Like I said, they were kind of vets when they entered the league, vets in college. So these guys are a little different than your average young buck. So when you're dealing, your rookies, and when they're dealing with their old heads, these guys were kind of old heads in their own right coming out of college. So it's a little different experience, probably a different level of respect and trust from the Laker teammates with these guys than it is with someone who's 18, 19 years old. Let's see. A lot to unpack there, man. I was going off a little bit there. Let's see. West Side Connect. Yeah, can I gang, bing, bing, bang. Let's see. Shake had a great game. He had a great game tonight. And like I said, I don't expect that often. I don't think Shake is a guy we can count on to have great games. I don't think he's going to get a ton of run. But like I said, tonight was just an overall game of that next man up mentality, NBA edition. And they did their thing, man. They did their thing. They played well. They played hard. They competed. They did enough to win, but they also did enough to lose. And in the end, they got the loss. And it sucks. And we go on to the next one. Don't Care says, I was expecting a Denver blowout with all the players missing, then was pleasantly surprised, but then disappointed with the finish. Yeah, like I said, we got to a point where when Knecht made that dunk, got that dunk and hit his head, I was like, oh, man, like I said, we can actually win this. So I went from there. They're probably not going to have enough. Not that they were going to blow it, but they probably weren't going to have enough. And then they had a chance. And I was like, oh, man. But then, they didn't have enough. So sucks. But like I said, no moral victories. But that was a good game. It was a good game. They gave us something to enjoy, something to watch, right? And it was entertaining tonight. They gave us something. Empire triple salute. DK boy. Yeah, appreciate you, man. Hit stick stepping, man. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you, man. Let's see. It's a blessing in disguise. The DK trade was rescinded. Yeah. I mean, look, they weren't looking actively to trade him, man. They weren't like out there trying to shop him. They got a deal that they felt that they wanted to do because Luka had mentioned that, he wanted a certain type of big, and he had mentioned this player by name. So the Lakers tried to get it done. It just didn't work out. But it's not like they were trying to get rid of him. I'm sure, like, when they got him back, they were thrilled. They're like, hey, we weren't looking to get rid of you. We were just trying to find a big for this year. And it just a business, man. That's all it really was. What's going on, William Rodriguez, my guy? Hope you're doing well, bro. DK had a great game. AR did too. I just feel he tries to do too much at times. Yeah, he's trying to overcompensate because you're asking a role player to be a closer, and he's trying to do too much, right? And even Luka tries to do too much, right? And he gets those turnovers and costly things. So Luka has a skill and to be able to do that on a nightly basis. Austin is kind of like take his skill up another level and trying to force some action that he may not have. And that's what I'm trying to say. When you put your players in a position where your role players have to be closers and stars at the end of the game because you don't have your stars and closers, things like this are going to happen, man. And it sucks. Big baby, what's going on, my guy? The last 3 minutes when I'm assuming he said fouled Jokic and gave up a 3 and the missed free throws and didn't get to the time stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of things that led to it. But like I said, when you're playing a guy like Joker, and he's able to get the ball up high, dribble to the basket, man, as a 7-footer that's not very fast, touch around the basket, man. He's just a really hard cover. Koloko stepped up and needs some consistent minutes. I don't want to see Len on the court again. He might not be. And again, I also said repeatedly, Len is there in case they just run out of bigs, right? They needed another big on the roster, and there really wasn't anyone else available, right? So, Koloko has had a lot of very bad games when he's been in. He's had a couple of moments, but tonight, again, playing free is one thing. Let's see how he does when there's expectations on that night. Well, let's see how that goes. I don't want to overreact to Milton or Koloko with a 1-game sample size. That would be a mistake, right? Because if they come out the next game and these guys get the minutes and just completely fall apart, everyone's going to turn on them very quickly. Trust me. AR is our best trade chip, especially with Luka and DK stepping up. He's a good trade chip, but it's going to be a little more difficult next year because that 4th year is a player option and he's not picking that up. So he's technically going to be a rental if he's traded next year, or our team is going to have to sign him long-term after next year. And teams may be weary of that. So keep that in mind. Knecht being only 1 year in the league and the Lakers have control over him, he may be value, even though he's lower money. They both have value for different reasons, depending on where you're trading them to. Kane Carter, what's up, my guy? To play devil's advocate, I'll say this Laker team lost to the Nuggets a few nights ago. Anyone who wears a jersey in this league for a reason, make or miss league. It is a make or miss league for sure. No doubt. AR is a sixth man. I don't mind him in that role, but and it's not really like me saying in that role because he's not skilled. I just think he plays the same way regardless. So having a guy that could come off the bench and play the same, whether he comes off the bench or starts, I think is valuable on teams. I really, really do. You don't have to start your 5 best players. Often championship teams do not. If you look at the Warriors run, Iguodala came off the bench, right? If you look at just any team that Manu Ginobili, part of the Spurs dynasty, came off the bench. If you have a guy that can play the same, whether he comes off the bench or starts, and you have that luxury, it's a great tool to have and great depth if that guy's coming off your bench. I mean, your team is pretty deep. And that's where I've always felt like he may be able to do his best work because he'd be playing against second units. He'd have a better usage rate while he's in the game. He'd have more control, more trust, and he'd be able to get his effectively out there, right? Instead of trying to fit in with 2 other stars. So it was never about shading Austin and saying he's a bench player. I just feel like he could still do great work coming off the bench. If Manu, that's my point. If Manu and Iggy could come off the bench, why can't Austin or Rui be that dude? I agree. AR over dribbles and missed a bunch of easy passes in the paint for easy layups and dunks. Yeah, I mean, Austin's not a point guard. He's not. And if you remember early in the season, I was saying if their plan is to run him more at point guard, that I really, really worry against playoff teams of him turning the ball over at half court or when they send double or they send traps or they press. I've talked about his ball handling skills may not be up to the level where he's able to do that throughout an entire playoff series. I've talked about this multiple times. Again, no shade, but he is not a point guard with incredible handles. He's a guy who uses his body, he uses his shoulder. He's got clever movements, right? He can do some step back stuff. He can get you off balance. He can get you on a pump fake. He can hit you with a shimmy. He can get to the free throw line. He can do these things. But if you got a guy out there, if you got him go up there dribbling the ball, trying to get across half court against someone like a Chris Dunn, right? Chris Dunn's going to rip that ball time and time again, especially if you got a whole game or a whole series to figure him out. So he is an incredible on-ball defender. So if you get an on-ball defender out there that could just ball hawk on Austin Reaves, then they're going to make life difficult for him. And they would make life difficult for true point guards, let alone someone who's really not a true NBA point guard. That's just the truth. I watched Buha live a few shows ago, and he said Fish used to take a lot of bad shots. Is that even true? Even though bro was clutch? Oh yeah, Fish took a lot of bad shots. So here's the reason. Fish was a guy who sacrificed his game. Robert Horry, Rick Fox, a lot of these guys sacrificed their game for better of the team. And by doing so, sometimes when they hit a couple shots or they got the ball, they just wanted to, make a couple shots, right? They sacrificed a lot, but sometimes they just fall into that old hat of all those years where they were the guy on their team. And Derek Fisher, when he was drafted, man, he was a guy that could score the basketball out of Arkansas Little Rock. He was a good player. He had that little running floater, the little left-hand floater like Van Axel used to have. He had that in his game. He was a guy that could score. Then if you can remember when he went to Golden State and then Utah, his scoring went way up because he was able to play more like himself versus sacrificing. Then when he came back to the Lakers, he was a little different player. He was a little bit more aggressive, a different style of player, but these guys sacrificed their game. So there were games when they had times to shoot. Sometimes they forced it. So Fish would take bad shots from time to time. That is an absolute fact. I'd rather have Austin as a third guy over Beal. Now, see, this is the type of thing I'm talking about. Like Bradley Beal is a guy that a lot of people will never say Austin Reaves is better than. People will say I don't think a lot of people are going to say that Austin Reaves had a better career than Bradley Beal. I don't think anyone's going to say that at their peaks, Austin Reaves was better than Bradley Beal. So I want to be clear about that. Bradley Beal is a much better talent than Austin Reaves. He's a better player than Austin Reaves for his career, right? But right now, this season, what we're dealing with, who we have on our team, chemistry, and all this and that, I would take Austin Reaves over Bradley Beal for a number of reasons. One, his fit. 2, his ability with his chemistry with LeBron. 3, the contract, which is very, very important. It's not just about the person or the player. Again, I'm talking about for this team. No, he doesn't have a no trade clause like Bradley Beal. There's a lot of things why I would take Austin Reaves on this team over Bradley Beal. And there's some reasons for on the court. There's some reasons for the locker room. And there's some reasons for the contract situation. And all of those, I would take Austin Reaves over Bradley Beal for this team. I'm not saying he's a better player, although right now he might be. But Bradley Beal was cold, and he was an incredible player for a long time. But for this team and what we got right now, I would take Austin. Do you trade Dalton Knecht at the end of the season for a center or keep developing him? I think they'll consider it. I saw my guy Eric Pincus floated a trade rumor that it was involving Dallas again and Charlotte, and the Lakers would end up with Gafford in that trade, and Knecht would be going out. So we'll see, right? Maybe if they're going to get a big and they don't really have bunch of contract money to do so, unless they dump a lot of guys. Let's say let DFS walk. They trade Gabe. They trade Rui. Like if they move off of these guys, then maybe you can sign a big, but what big's even available? So you're probably gonna have to trade them, right? Trade for a big. And if you're gonna trade for a big, you're gonna have, Gabe, Rui, Austin, Knecht. One of these guys are gonna have to go. One of these guys for sure gonna have to go. Do you feel Braun, the Braun can't play off ball narrative or adapt as a fake narrative? I do think it's fake because he's played great off ball this year. His ability to fade to the corner, catch and shoot without dribbling a basketball now has improved so immensely that Braun off ball has become a weapon. Teams are actively scouting against it now because they see it as a weapon. So LeBron off ball has become a thing. And he's absolutely slayed that narrative for sure. AR is redundant with Luka and DK stepping up. Plus, he's going to be due for a big bag. So in many ways, other players that will fill out the roster better that I'd rather give up the bag to. That's what I'm saying. He's got one more year and then he's going to opt out and he's going to become expensive. Right now, he's on a very good value contract. He's not going to be after next season. So that's a good point. And I've often talked about that. So you're right. What is this? Water is wet. What's going on, my guy? I think it's over for the Lakers. As Warriors fans, we're the new king of the NBA. Nobody can stop us. I hope the Lakers can make it to the play-in. I don't think a single team in the league is afraid of the Warriors. I literally don't even think of them. If they beat the Lakers, they beat them, right? Props to them if they do. The Warriors, I don't even think about. Like I think they're a first round exit no matter who they play. I just don't think about them. Warriors ain't doing nothing except getting. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I literally do not think of them. They don't even cross my mind, like at all. Brian Green, what's going on, Brian? Dalton is a 80s, 90s rookie. Yeah. He's a different type of player. He's a Kyle Korver-ish, like when he first came out, right? He needs to drastically improve his defense. And he needs to use his ball handling and putting the ball on the floor and going to the rim and his finishing ability, because I think he's mostly known as a shooter, but that guy could catch a body. He could catch a body. He's got some athleticism. But again, he's got to come along a little bit, though. Get a little bit more confidence in his game. Shake killed us with that inbound pass, but that's on JJ making him the inbounder. Well, he made him the inbounder, but the play looked busted. And Austin, I also blame because he was falling back. You cannot throw a ball cross court like that if you don't have a pick set on the guy who can shoot the gap. That play got busted, obviously. Don't Care says, was this the NBA version of a bullpen game? No, because Denver had most of their guys. But yeah, maybe, kind of. I didn't think about it like that, but yeah. I guess that's a good way of putting it. I'm not gonna lie, I never liked Mark Williams like that. Hayes can give us some of that production for cheap, and bro has never played more than 45 games a season, not worth the price. Yeah, his ability to score was going to be a tremendous impact on this team, though. Tremendous impact on this team and the lob threat, right? Jackson is a little frail, like I told, the last 2 home games, he hit the ground really hard, and once right on his knee, and I was like, oh man, that's gonna. I remember saying it when it happened. I was like, he may miss some time because that was a really hard fall. And he screamed when he fell. He toughed it out that game, and he hasn't been back since. Damn, DK had a nasty ass spill and bounced off the head of Harvey. Yeah, and stayed in the game. I'd be interested to see if he's going to be in concussion protocol. You feel Braun and Caruso are similar players? I feel like Brown, sorry, is a better scorer. Caruso is a better defender, but def similar. I think Christian Brown was better out the gate than Caruso was. I think Caruso became a much better player overall, especially on his offensive side of the ball. They're similar. Brown is bigger, I think. Um, so I think Christian Brown has a chance to actually have a better career than Caruso, to be honest with you. But Caruso is a very, very good role player. Brown has a chance to be a very good role player. I think Brown is just a little bit, probably a little bit, going to be a little bit more skilled offensively out the gate than Caruso was. So yeah, you're right about that. Dalton in 3 years will be insane. Yeah, I think so. I think there's a chance to be very good, throughout this year still and the playoffs and next year. Chris said, Jeff, please watch the Lakers Nuggets fans after the game video. Oh, man. It's craziness, right? Knecht is a real one. I think he is too. Lakers should not trade him at all. Look, I don't think they're looking to trade him. I don't think they're shopping him. But again, if this team wants to get better and they want to add pieces, you're going to have to give to get. In any type of trade. In any type of trade, you're going to have to give to get. And if you want another team's talent, you're going to have to give up some of your talent. And look, I know a lot of people think that, that a lot of these moves were like they hosed the other team or this and that. I think people are lessening the value of what Anthony Davis had around the league. Dallas clearly had a high value for Anthony Davis. Right? They gave up, like Jeannie Buss said it, like we weren't shopping him, we weren't thinking of moving him, but it's Luka, right? So with that being said, they also weren't looking back, sitting here like, hey, we want to be rid of Dalton Knecht. Let's get off of him, right? Let's move him now. It's not what it was, but when they're, having talks around the league and you're talking about getting some talent, you're trying to get someone that other teams might want as well. And you got offers from other teams. You can't just be offering junk out there or just salary match. You're going to have to add, something that matches a salary and some talent for that other team and some draft compensation, right? To get an upgrade. So, if you're not going to trade Austin, it's going to be Knecht, right? Because teams are going to ask for him. And you're not going to be able to really upgrade the team with any high value people unless you give up pieces that other teams value as high value for now and in the future. And Knecht and Austin and those guys are those guys that other teams are going to want when you have trade talks with them. Imagine if Braun took that spell DK took, they would have had to bust out the stretcher for Braun and airlift him out. That's funny. Braun can be extra, but in that point of the game, when it was close in the final stretch there, I think if he fall and hit himself, I still think he finishes the game. But I get what you mean with the theatrics, though. That's hilarious. That's comedy. People talking to search. Let me mind my business. Agree or disagree? Good, great teams have dog fights or lose to bad teams, and a lot more common than one would think because the league is very talented. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think people forget how much that Lakers three-peat team lost to Charlotte. Like the Charlotte Bobcats and the Portland, like they would lose to bad teams. There were certain bad teams that just had your number, and it happened all the time. And it just happens. And especially any given night. But sometimes it goes on a run. Sometimes there's pretty good stretches where teams lose to teams that they are way better than. And that's not too uncommon. Bro, free throws, man. Refs literally gave Denver almost 40 free throws. Yeah. I mean, we've had games where we've had that free throw disparity on our side. We've had it against us. We've had games where we got a lot of calls. We've had games where we don't get calls. I've always said it always evens out. That's why I'm not really an anti-ref guy, just because I feel like it always evens out. It really, really does. And, we have led the league numerous times in getting to the free throw line and free throw attempts. And so we can't cry when it happens to us. Right now, I get it. It's LeBron getting fouled. It was AD getting fouled. Now it's Luka, and there's some non-calls and all this. But also the amount that you cry to the refs actually impacts things too. Right. So didn't go their way tonight. But at the end of the day, that thing typically balances out. It typically does. Fish took bad shots at Barnes. That's funny. Matthew H. What's going on, Matthew? Watch Lakers will grab KD or Devin Booker from the Suns. I don't know how the Lakers can get KD, being that the Suns are a second apron team. The Lakers are approaching second apron status. The trade between those two teams is very difficult. Now, it can be done. The Lakers would have to dump some pieces elsewhere prior to that happening. I just don't know how serious the Lakers would consider that. I don't think I don't know if LeBron believes in the 3-star model anymore. KD does, clearly. I don't know if LeBron and them like buy into that right now. And I don't think they want to go down a path that limits Luka when in a year where they're trying to extend him and get him to sign long term. I don't think they want to go to somewhere where his touches and uses go down in that scenario. I don't know. And I don't know if KD wants to come in and be the third guy, because if he came in here with Bron and Luka, KD would have to take the third seat in that scenario. Even though he's KD, the politics here would be he'd be third. And I don't think KD wants to sign up for that either. Do you feel Gabe Vincent is like a Fisher minus the playmaking? I see resemblances in Miami, bro. It was more of a scorer who could shoot. I feel bro has been transitioning to a 3-and-D guard. Gabe has always reminded me of a Derek Fisher type. Always. I think Derek Fisher was a better well, Gabe has clutch moments too. They're very similar. I felt like Gabe is quicker, probably had a little better handle. A little bit more athletic than Fish. But outside of that, they're similar players. They're similar. In your eyes, why do some guards always wind up being weird off the ball? Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. There's a lot of reasons. So if you played your whole life on the ball and then you get to the league, now you got to adjust to that. And then maybe you adjust to that. Or just maybe now you're playing, so it could be something simple as this. You could be a guy that's used to being in that right corner, right? But now you're playing with a guy who maybe is a left-handed guard and is dominant going to his left. And now you're on his weak side as opposed to his strong side. So maybe you're not getting the ball as much. So you have to rotate and get on the other side. And maybe you're better shooting from the other corner or the other elbow or the other wing or the other arc, whatever, right? Simplest things can throw shooters off. They have their spots, like you said, let a shooter get to their spots, let them know where they want to be. Some guys who catch from both sides. Some guys are better catching and shooting. Some guys are better shooting off the dribble. Some need one bounce for rhythm. It all depends. So there's also like who you getting the ball from, off of what type of set, off what type of action. Are you standing and catching? Are you running off a pick to take the shot? There's a lot of variables that go into that first. Kane says, Jeff, I assume you're not a big Jimmy guy. He seems like the player you love. Oh, no, I'm not an anti-Jimmy guy. I just don't think Jimmy's Jimmy anymore. I don't think he's the Jimmy. I've never felt that Jimmy was a superstar. Never. I feel like you guys use that word superstar way too much. To me, Jimmy was never a superstar, ever. Never has, never will be. I think Jimmy is a good guy, a good third option on a team. But right now, who's the second guy on the Warriors, right? If Jimmy's your second best player, I don't think you have a very good team. I like Jimmy. I just think Jimmy's been overblown, overhyped, the mentality of him and all this stuff that they've played out. I think he talks too much. I think he talks more than he delivers, and I don't like that. Kind of like Anthony Edwards, kind of like John Morant, kind of like Dylan Brooks. Like they say crazy stuff and then don't back it up. So that I don't love about Jimmy, but you're right. The type of player, his effort when he was locked in, he doesn't play as many games. I don't believe he's playoff Jimmy, right? I think that's a narrative. It's kind of weird. I think all the narratives about Jimmy are not what people think, to be honest. I don't think the narratives match the player for all of it. You think Knecht can be this team Sam Hauser? I think he could be way better than Hauser. Way better than Hauser, I think. I really think he can. What's going on, Joseph? The Goonhound returns. What's going on, Joe? Make sure you go subscribe to Lakers Fast Break. All the gentlemen over there and Joe, go check that out, man. Appreciate you, Joe. Brian Grease says, I feel like half the time Dalton is being frozen out by teammates. They seem to go to him as a last resort. JJ is not doing a good job of using him. Well, one, he's a rookie. Two, I don't really believe he was frozen out tonight. I mean, he got a lot of touches tonight. He played 48 minutes. He got up 27 shots. I heard people talking about they didn't want to give him the ball. He had the most shots on the team tonight. He got more shots than Austin. He took 13 threes. Like I said, he played almost 37 minutes. Now, I know you're probably talking about throughout the season. And again, he's a rookie. He's in a lesser rotational role. But I definitely don't think that Dalton Knecht is being suppressed or hated on in any way. He's just paying his dues right now, which a lot of people in the league have to do their first year, including Austin Reaves had to do that. I'm just happy the Knecht trade was rescinded instead of the Luka one. That would have been a closed nuke bomb, a colossal nuke bomb for both teams. Yeah, Kane, that would have been crazy if that got rescinded. I think both teams would have just waived physicals if someone didn't pass on that one. I'm dead serious because that trade was so ballistic that if something happened, a team would have been like, look, we'll just clear the physical, and if he's out the rest of the year, we'll deal with the next year. Yeah, the Bobcats were the Shaq and Kobe Laker daddy. Yeah, there was a kryptonite, Brian. Like they just couldn't beat them for some reason. Felt like every time they played, and especially in Charlotte, they just could not beat them. It was super annoying, man. Super annoying. I know Laker fans hate Malone, but to be honest, I don't know how much of an issue because he wants the guy who was balling to get praise, and ESPN. I don't dislike Mike Malone. Like I said, if they beat you, they can talk. That's how it is. Like to me, it's not. To me, it's not. I don't get with all the rah-rah like a lot of people. You know what I mean? To me, it's not. I don't follow all the narratives, the cliches, the all this, that, and the third. I don't do all that, man. If they beat you, they could talk. That's what it is. You can't talk if they beat you. They beat you, they could talk. Like the Dodgers won. They ran their mouths a little bit, right? They popped off. It's all in the game. I come from kind of the era that if you want to shut them up, beat them. If you don't like what someone is saying, change the conversation or shut them up, right? Like you can't cry about what someone is saying if there's nothing you can do about it, right? You got to take it. If there's nothing you can do to stop it, if you can't out-hoop them, you can't slap them in the mouth. If you can't stop them, then you can't shut them up. You can't shut them up. So I don't have a problem with what he was saying because they won. They beat us. And to be honest, the way that they beat us and as many times as they beat us, they had every right to run their mouths. Every right to run their mouths. But I'm telling you, I believe 100% we're going to shut them up this year. I believe it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Who cares? But I believe we're going to shut them up this year. I really do. Like game one, instead of saying the Nuggets are a series, they said, I think Rui can stop Joker. Yeah, I mean, but that was Laker fans just, Laker fans. There's a pocket of Laker fans who think they have to be the first to say something versus saying something right. And if they see something on one play, they think it can be done repeatedly. There's no way in holy hell Rui was going to be a Joker stopper. No way in hell. And then everyone just uses recycled narratives. Ugh, like it's just lack of just intellect and creativity. And it's anyone who like really believed that a game you lost on the road, which was your best chance to win, and coming back from that thinking they're not going to adjust, like you're playing yourself. You're playing yourself. It's the same people who said they wanted Denver in the first round last year. Still can't grasp that. Don't duck them. Don't duck them. But you can't be out here saying you want them when you ain't nowhere near ready to beat them. Stupid. Stupid. I'm waiting for Bucks or Spurs to call the Lakers and offer Giannis or Victor. I'm telling you right now, I've been saying this. I don't know if I've said it on my own channel, but I think I said it on Lakers Fast Break. I keep your eye on Wemby, y'all. I'm going to keep saying that. Keep an eye on Wemby. Not for trade. I'm saying keep an eye on Wemby. If he's not happy with what's going on in San Antonio, he may be that first guy to not take an extension. He may take that qualifying offer and dip. Like I'm saying, like, keep an eye on Wemby a couple of years, man. Keep an eye. Right around the time where the Lakers are going to have a whole bunch of money is right around the time Wemby can make something happen. I'm not saying it's happening. I'm not saying it's not. All right? Just keep an eye on that. AR from Max Christie plus a first-round pick. Nah, I'm not trading AR from Max. I like Max. I don't hate on Max. There's been a lot of people who just been sitting looking on their phones at Max stats for weeks just waiting for him to slip up so they can get back on that and be right again, right? But Max is going to be a good player in the NBA for a while. Star? No. All-star? No. Good role player. Good role player. I like Max. I think Max has a long future in the NBA. What do you think about Love throwing the troll tweet about Braun telling Luka to fit out over fit around him when he told Love the opposite? Do you feel part of that is growth on Braun? Growth. Realizes that this is, going to be Luka's team longer than it's going to be his. And I think Braun has been great. I think Braun has been incredible in this whole Luka wave here, in this whole process. I think he's been great. I think Braun has been great all year. I had said repeatedly before the season that we needed 2020 leadership level Braun this year. And I think we got it. I think LeBron has been great. I think a lot of that has to do with them drafting Bronny, getting Bronny in there, and him not wanting to be, like he was last year in front of his son. And I got nothing but positive things to say about LeBron James this season. He's to me, LeBron's the MVP. I look at him. Look at the team without him. Look at the team without him. Look what he was doing since February 1st. Even before that, but I'm talking about what he did in February, right? LeBron, to me, if the Lakers finished with the number 2 seed in the Western Conference this season, which they still could do, LeBron would have been is the MVP. Now I don't know if he's gonna. I got to check how many games he's played if he's gonna qualify. But to me, LeBron's the MVP of the league, and it's crazy to say that a man who's 40 years old still doing what he's doing. To me, LeBron is the MVP of the league this year. He is. Y'all disrespecting Fish with those trash comparisons. I mean, everyone has a comp, bro. Everyone has a comp. I'm not calling them the same player. Their styles are similar plays. And I think people are holding on to Gabe from last year when he was injured. And I think you got to go back and look when Fish was injured in 2001. You're right. When he missed most of the season and came back right at the playoff time, right? And lit it up. But like Fish and Gabe are similar style players. Doesn't mean that I think Gabe is better than Fish, but I think Gabe is very good. Has a chance to be a very good role player for a team. Jeff, I meant guards who started their whole career aren't the same if they come off the bench. Some are. Like Ray Allen was solid off the bench. Like you got guys, Gary Payton had stretches where he was solid and he was coming off the bench. A lot of guys have gone to the bench and had solid and played solid. D Fish was clutch and a bulldog on deep. He was clutch. But D Fish got cooked on defense too, yo. let's not forget. Think about who he played against. All right. Think about who he played against. Like he was a solid player, but let's not act like D Fish was all league defense and 6th man of the year candidate. He was a very good role player. Let's not get crazy. I love D Fish, but let's not get crazy. I think Jimmy is a great Pippen who can become Jordan every now and then. That's a fair take. He was kind of thrusting in that role in Miami. I just always felt that Jimmy felt that he was more than what he is. I guess is what my take on it. I think he's a good player, but I think Jimmy felt like he was a top 5 player in the game, and he's never been that to me. Lakers went 10-9 against the Bobcats when they were the Bobcats during Kobe's reign. Yeah, it was horrific. They just could never felt like they could never. And even the 10 wins feels like excessive. It didn't feel like they ever got that. Like they just gave him so many fits. I will say this: Miami team was never going to win the way they were built. Jimmy is a Pippen trying to be Jordan. Bam is cracked Rodman. You want to be Pippen, and Hero was never that dude or always hurt. Yeah, I just don't. It's just every team he's been on, the way it ends, the way he forces his way out, the way it's always someone else's fault. Like I just don't like that. I just don't like that. Can't play Luka and AR at the same time. Can't have more than one sloth on the court at once. That starting lineup, man. AR, Luka, Rui, Braun, Hayes. They go over 100 possessions now, plus 24. Absolutely can play them together, and it's the best lineup in the league, defensively, offensively, when they're on the floor. Believe it or not. Crazy as it sounds, it's a fact. Jeff, do you feel the narrative today players don't know how to take criticism and only want praise fake because they were hella guys from the past who had wild post games after losses? I think it's different, social media, instant access to information, memes, clowning people. You say one thing, you slip up, and it's global in seconds. I think these guys became more sensitive because anything they say, their brand could be damaged. And they all have a brand now where a role player didn't have a brand before. He didn't have 8 million followers, right? Didn't have millions of followers as a role player. They do now. And it's a whole different world when it comes to that. So it's a little weird, but they do. It's just different today. Rui is hot and cold, like McDLT. Rui can be, yeah. Wemby with Luka would be magical. I'm telling you, man, keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. Max was 1 of 13 tonight. Yeah, he had a rough go tonight. And they came out the woodwork for him tonight. They came out. But hey, look, I'm not hating on a 20-year-old, 21-year-old that doesn't even know what he is yet. I mean, that's weird. You know what I mean? Like, let the kid have a chance to grow into something, man. Let him have a chance. He's going to be a solid player. And when people look at averages and minutes and all that stuff, like I said, like go look at what some of these Hall of Fame role players averaged on their teams, bro. Like I think people talk wild when it comes to that stuff. They don't really look at the numbers. Let's see. Rihanna was sick. Yep. Fish came back from injury with that spot up high arcing 3-point shot. He sure did, man. He sure did. Thoughts on those memes of Kobe and the 09 Laker team saying Kobe won with this team? Those role players get disrespected and the league was different back then. Look, my thing was I felt like that was me and Joe talked about that in the show, talk about 2009. And I have reasons why I love it. And that year that team for the season was incredible. I think we just talk about the playoff run, other than the Denver series and playing Orlando in the finals, didn't have the same hit to it. Right now, it was Kobe's first ring without Shaq. So you had that and it was big, right? But that team had Kobe. It had Lamar Odom. It had Pau Gasol. It had Derek Fisher. Phil Jackson was coaching it. Trevor Ariza was coming into his own, right? Bynum was coming into his own. That team was better than people think. They had multiple Olympians on that team, and future All-Stars, and they had a lot of good players on that team. But I think they just look at the ones with Morrison and was it Suya? What it was like some of the guys that no one even knows their names that were on that team. Was Radmanovich? No, Radmanovich wasn't on that team. Who was on it? It was not Radmanovich. Sasha was on that team. So a lot of guys that aren't a lot of people that know who some of those guys are, and Benga and all these guys. A lot of casual fans don't know who those guys are. So to them, it's like, who he won with this, but they don't know. Like Turiel, they don't know who these guys are, right? They don't know. Let's see. 3.5 hours till Dodgers' first exhibition game in Tokyo. No sleep, gang. Oh, I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping. I'm not waking up to watch a preseason game. We have the internet now, but sports radio was harsh as hell back in the day. Sports radio can still be harsh now. I think my Warriors will win a championship there. It's just we can't lose the game. I don't think anyone thinks the Warriors are winning the chip. I hate to burst your bubble there. When people say all kind of kind of held himself back from winning, and there were a limitation to his game, that that hurt the ceilings, whatever team he was on. AI was just a very, very incredible talent, very fun to watch, very gritty, played hard. But a small guard like that as the best player on your team, it's just really hard to translate into championships when you don't have a really, really good team around you. Isaiah Thomas was not a very big guard, but he had a really good team against some bruising team. Defense was ridiculous. Different area at coach at Chuck Daly. Like a lot of those smaller guards as the best player, it's really hard to win with those guys in the NBA. It really, really is. And it's uncommon. It's uncommon. Let's see. What did AI do that held himself back? I mean, I wouldn't. It just, he was smaller. He would get hurt a lot. Now he played through injuries, but he would, would affect him, right? And he took a lot of shots. Wasn't a very efficient player. Again, incredible player. Loved watching him hoop, but he just like there were certain things about his game that didn't always that wouldn't translate to championships. Now if he had a legit big and all these things, and if he had a legit secondary player, the best player that he had on Philly, I can't even think of a guy that's a legit number two. He got Weber, that was way too late. The guys he had were mostly defensive guys, right? When you had Mutombo and Tyrone Hill and Aaron McKee and Eric Snow and all these guys, and none of those guys, even though they won awards, and McKee was sixth man of the year, Dikembe defensive player of the year, AI MVP, but he didn't have that second offensive killer. He never really had that guy. He played with Larry Hughes for a while before he really became what he became in Washington. He had Iguodala, but that was later in Iverson's career and before Iggy really defined his game. But outside of that, he really didn't have that second guy to really help him get to that point. Even though you stay respectful what are players you have no qualms with with getting on? For me, I've never been a Harden, Paul George, or Dame guy for some reason. Um, you know, I respect and appreciate any player's ability to get to the league, um, and play this game that we probably at all one point dreamt of hopefully being able to do that just wasn't possible. So for me, it's really hard to get on a player. Like, I really don't ever get on players as much as I get on the fans who have false expectations for them. So, like the Cam Reddishes, like the people who were acting like he was going to be. I talked about this the other day. I don't know if it was on my show or Lakers Fast Break, but I have more beef with the fans who think that these journeymen or lower level guys, because they were a name at one point, like because Cam Reddish was a name coming out of college, that all of a sudden he's a Laker, that he's going to become an all-star. Like, my beef was with the people who believe that nonsense, not Cam Reddish. The people that believe like Stanley Johnson is a guy that should be like in a rotation in the NBA. It's no beef with Stanley Johnson. It's beef with people who keep spewing that narrative. Like the beef with people who think Dwight Howard could be a starting NBA center in today's league. No way. No beef with Dwight. It's beef with the people who believe that. Beef with people who believe that Tristan Thompson could have made a difference if he was our center in 2023. Like, that's insane. Like, my beef is more with the people who have these weirdo narratives than it ever is with players. So for me to really go after a player or get on players, there's guys where I'm like, okay, they probably shouldn't be in this spot. But there's also being a guy who's coached, being a guy that's been around like AAU travel ball and traveled with teams and been with players outside of just a game and a practice, and that matters, right? And sometimes there's a guy who just fits your culture. There's a guy, and believe it or not, some of the end of the bench guys, there's guys on that team that vets, that stars, they have a connection with, a bond with, they trust, they relate to. Listen to what LeBron just said about getting Keith back, right? He's not going to play a lot of minutes. He's not going to have a lot of impact on this team on the floor. But a guy like that on your bench, when you need more vets, a guy like that has value. And sometimes these guys who we look at, and we're only looking about what they do on the court, which is fair. But sometimes some of these guys, like I made fun of Udonis Haslem for years just because of the way he ran his mouth. But his value to that Heat team, even without ever playing, even though he was taking up a roster spot, no one ever cared about UD taking up a roster spot and never playing. No one cared about him making money, taking a spot, and doing all that. No one cared about that, right? Because he wasn't someone's son. But that was kind of the guy I kind of always kind of made fun of, because it was always this narrative about UD and checking in when you go to Miami. So I thought the narratives and the fake tough guy stuff was always just comedy to me. Not that he can't throw hands, you know what I mean? But I guess what I'm saying is like that he was like this massive enforcer or something. He wasn't. UD was probably the guy I made fun of or got on the most just because the narratives of it were crazy. Outside of that, I'm not a guy who hates on players. It's hard for me to hate on a guy that can do something I can never do. It's hard. We can sit here and be critical and talk about their game and this and that. But I talk with Joe all the time about being on the couch, and we're just guys on the couch. We're fans. We love this. We couldn't do a single thing these guys do. The worst player in the NBA would cook everyone in this chat, would cook everyone that we know. The worst player in the NBA, the guys that people get on here and bash, or everyone that gets up here and bashes Austin Reaves, they would eat you on the court. And I'm mindful of that, you know? So for me, it's I can't sit up here and go crazy and bash a guy that I know I can't do it, right? So, but outside of that, I can give an opinion if he made a play in a game, if there was a decision, if he got a silly technical, if he did something stupid, like all that is a little different than someone's game, right? Or maybe not liking someone's personality, or maybe thinking someone's a cancer to a team. Like, that's all different than just getting on, like calling someone trash, right? Calling someone trash. He's in the NBA, right? The worst player in the NBA could still destroy 95% of humanity in basketball. All right. I'm mindful of that. So for me, that's why I really don't get on players. I like debates. I'll get in debates, and I think this guy's better than this guy, that guy, that guy. But calling any player in the NBA trash, like maybe he shouldn't be in the NBA too long, or maybe he's not that great, this, that. But for the most part, I do my best to shy away from that. Sometimes I fall into the trap. But I usually regret it later because it's just not usually who I am. Let's see. Yeah, loved practice. That's funny. AI Ewing, Barkley, and Reggie never had the bona fide second star with them. Yeah, and it made a big difference. Made a big difference. And we don't know what those guys would have played like with a second star. Like, we don't know. Maybe some of these guys don't want a second star. Look, I'm gonna tell you this right now. And you guys know when I first got on the scene covering, basketball and doing my channel and going on other channels, I was always kind of making fun of the Dame situation, right? Because Dame never had a problem with not winning in Portland. I felt. I don't know Dame. It's just an assumption. I felt like, look, he's like, I'm going to maximize my earning potential. I'm going to get all my numbers and my legacy, and I'm going to get zero blame because they're just going to blame the franchise. I'm giving everything I have. I was loyal to the soil. I took every supermax they gave me. And the second I got the last supermax I was eligible for, I demanded a trade. I called this years in advance. And so Dame's situation always felt fugazi to me. I believe Dame liked eating first. I believe he liked getting his buckets, liked getting his numbers, having no pressure, getting his bag, making all-star, all-NBA, loved getting all the accolades with none of the pressure. None. Not that playing in an NBA team and being the face of a franchise and having to win games not that that's not pressure, but he wasn't getting like the KD or he can never win. Like he always had a free excuse built in that he didn't necessarily ask for. But he knew what it was. And so some of these guys, I use Dame as an example, some of these guys might not have wanted to play with that second guy because could have affected their individual legacies. Some of them would rather get the bag, their averages, their numbers, than a chip. Believe it or not. Not every player prioritizes winning a trophy. Number one. I'm dead serious about this. Not everyone does. They want to win, but there's a lot of NBA players who would be perfectly fine with playing 15 years, making a ton of max money and never winning versus mid-level and winning a couple times. I'm telling you this right now. That's not even a hot take. It's not even a hot take. Why do a lot of guys who were stars and scorers in high school struggle in the NBA or are bench guys, even if they make it? I'm telling you, because the next level is just a whole different world, bro. It's a whole different world. Even the worst player in the NBA was the man most of his life until he got to the NBA. It's just a fact. Because the talent is even better. And it takes a mental focus to work day in and day out in the highest profession of your job and not get sidetracked. You got some money. You got people wanting tickets. People want to go to the club when you first get in there. People want to, get them a car, get your mom a house, get all this stuff. You got so much things you're focused on other than basketball when you first get in there. A lot of players can't handle the responsibilities of being a professional, can't handle being coached hard or criticism take its toll. Yeah. And a lot of these guys get coached hard in college. They do. But when they start getting money, especially a rookie, they may be making more money than their coach. It's a little different though, man. Bronny Scalabrini. Bronny Scalabrini. Some guys like that. I mean, throwing hands, bro. But I can tell you though, I can't speak for other people, but I can tell you, like I said, certain things that people like say, like I never was a big fan of Pat Bev because of the way he carried himself. Was never really a big fan of Kendrick Perkins because the way he carried himself, like the way he did, but it had nothing to do with what they did on the actual court, right? My thing was like, I felt like they just did, I just felt like they did stuff that was uncalled for, right? But different than like their actual, like what they can contribute to the basketball court. What's that for the white mamba? Michael, no, I'm not going to watch it at 3 a.m. Definitely not going to watch it at 3 a.m. Bradley Beal is someone that angers me. I don't feel like he cares about winning. To me, look at his comments today. He not wrong, but Brad Beal never someone I took serious. The Dame of the East. Yeah, exactly. Get the bag. No pressure. Yeah, I mean, he just wants his money. He got it. Be able to take care of his family for the rest of his life. And like I said, it's not all It's not a we need a Laker miracle to win this year. Not everyone wants to win as much as you guys. I'll tell you this: some of these players don't want to win as much as you want them to win. I'm just telling you that right now. It's a fact. Well, yes and no. Christian Laettner had he didn't have a terrible NBA career. He just wasn't a star. He didn't have a terrible NBA career. He had a decent NBA career. A lot of these guys. I mean, Grant Hill wasn't even that dude coming up. He became better as he got into the league. Dame Lillard got better as he got into the league. Russell Westbrook got better as he got into the league. These guys were the opposite of some of these guys. If Westbrook or Darvin said all the right things, would they be hated less? Because I remember with Darvin, things you said, he never helped himself with his comment. Yeah, Darvin just stepped in it too much. That's one thing I always said. Just shut up, Darvin. Just shut up, because you're in a situation. You got to read the room. And Russ kind of too. Russ was just fed up. But Russ had a stand in this league. Like he's got a place in this league. And what Russ does for the city, and like Russ, believe it or not, like the non-basketball community and just overall the city of LA and in multiple cities, Russ has love in a lot of these streets. Like he really, really does. And Darvin don't. You know what I mean? So it's a totally different situation. I've never hated Russell Westbrook. I just never loved him as a Laker during the time he was a Laker. Wasn't a fit. But the man, the person, Russ is straight up and down, straight like that. A good, respectable dude. Like I know. I mean, I'm just telling you. Like I've seen a lot of good that Russ has done as a man. Russ, the person, is an incredible human being. Incredible. Russ just wasn't a fit on the Lakers, and you know what? I don't think that makes him the worst person in the world because he wasn't a fit on the Lakers. That's it. I poked my fun into like some things that had happened and this and that, but Russ, the man, respect to that guy. Respect to that guy. Straight up. Like I mean, we said a couple like Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard. There's guys that just think that like they get the money. Like you look at someone like a I don't know about their star, like a D'Angelo Russell, Karl Anthony Towns, like that wave of player. Like I just think those guys just get their bag and want to do their thing, and that's kind of it, right? I think there's a lot of players like that in the league. In your eyes, who do you feel Jokic does that helps unlock Russ well? As part of it, buying or the fit? I just think sometimes it's just style of play, man. Joker is just such an unselfish star, and the way he plays, I think anyone can play with Joker. I think another center could play with Joker. Like, I just think like playing with him is probably so easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think the way he does on a court, a lot of people would want to play with. And I think he just make a lot of guys better. On that note, guys, I'm gonna shut it down for the night. Gotta get up early tomorrow, so I want to appreciate you. I say thank you. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. You could be anywhere in the world, but you are here with me. Drop a like on the video on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. If you are watching the replay, let me know what you think in the comment section. Search, thank you, brother. You are the best in the business. Always pulling up, holding your boy down. I thank you kindly, and appreciate you guys spending your Friday night with me. Enjoy the rest of your night. You stay safe. Have a great Saturday, and not 100% sure I'll see you guys tomorrow, but I might see you guys tomorrow. If not, probably sometime on Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your night. Stay safe. Tough loss for the Lakers tonight. Hopefully they get the next one. Bron's coming back soon. The guys are coming back soon. So hope the Lakers will get back to winning soon. All right. Catch you guys on the next one. I'm out of here. Peace.